Kodak Black just dropped a bombshell that nobody wanted to hear. He's losing it all, and his addictions are tightening their grip on his life and career. We know Kodak for his unapologetic lyrics, raw energy, and how he turns pain into platinum hits. But lately, it feels like the pain is winning the battle. We've watched him hit some crazy highs, chart-topping singles, sold-out shows, and a real impact on the culture. But let's keep it real. We've also seen the lows, constant legal drama, jail time, and the most alarming of all, his ongoing struggle with addiction. And if you caught him at Rolling Loud the other day, you know what I'm talking about. It was rough to see. Kodak stumbled onto the stage, looking completely out of it. He was disoriented, even bumping into his own dancers, leaving the crowd stunned. Clips of the incident went viral in no time. This ain't the first time we've seen Kodak in a bad spot, but this time, it's got everyone genuinely worried. Like, where's his team at? Why isn't anyone stepping in to help him before it's too late? Kodak came out on stage, and it was a mess. He was bumping into his own dancers, struggling to get his clothes right, and straight up tripping. It was hard to watch, and had folks in the crowd wondering what was really going on. And if that wasn't bad enough, his legal issues have been relentless. We're not talking about minor stuff either. Kodak's been in and out of the system ever since he blew up. Remember that early case? Yeah, the one with those serious charges. According to AP News, Kodak ended up copping a plea to first-degree charges to dodge prison time. Got probation instead. But let's be real, the damage was done. A lot of the industry turned their backs on him after that, and it messed with his mental health in a major way. It's like, ever since then, he's been spiraling, and nobody seems to know how to stop it. Kodak was clearly out of it. The project baby looked so disoriented that someone really should have stepped in. His attempt at a freestyle left Kai completely speechless, and not in a good way. And it's like every time his name came up after that, it was tied to some wild drama. Remember back in 2018? Kodak got slapped with 7 charges. We're talking grand theft of a heater, possession despite already having a record, plus a bunch of violations that made the whole situation even uglier. For most people, that would have been a one-way ticket to serious prison time. But here's the part that had everyone doing a double take. 7 months later, he was out. TMZ reported that Kodak was initially staring down 12 years, but out of nowhere, most of the charges just vanished and his sentence got sliced down. People started thinking, all right, maybe he's about to turn things around, focus on his music and leave the drama behind. But nope. The very next year, he pulled something so reckless that it was almost hard to believe. In 2019, Kodak Black found himself tangled up in yet another legal disaster. This time, he got slapped with 46 months in federal prison after pleading guilty to weapons charges. At first, it seemed like there was no way he was getting out of this one. But then, in one of the craziest plot twists ever, Donald Trump hit him with a presidential pardon on January 20th, 2021. Just like that, he was free. People couldn't believe it. One minute he was locked up, the next he was walking out the door. And when Kodak got out, he actually looked different. Healthier, more focused, like he was really trying to move smart for once. Folks started hoping he was finally done with all the chaos. Maybe this was a new Kodak, ready to leave the drama behind and focus on his music. But that hope didn't last long. It wasn't long before the old habits started creeping back in. In 2022, Kodak Black was back in the headlines, and not for anything good. It all went down when the cops pulled him over for a window tint violation, but things got real messy when they decided to search his car and found something they didn't like. This was a rough blow for Kodak, especially considering what had just happened a few months earlier. If you remember, he got shot in the leg at a party, and according to him, That injury had him leaning heavy on some strong meds to cope. He didn't even try to hide it. Straight up said that what they found on him was actually prescribed by his doctor. But you already know how the game goes. Once your name stays mixed up in stuff like this, it doesn't matter what you say. People were quick to jump to conclusions, and the drama just kept piling on. People don't let stuff slide, and let's be real. Kodak's past struggles with this kind of drama definitely don't help his case. He tried to clear the air later on, speaking out about the situation, but it's hard to shake a rep like his. Kodak's battles have been out in the open for a long time, and even though he's said multiple times that he wants to change, it's like every step forward comes with 2 steps back. It's almost like he's stuck in a loop he can't break out of. And just when you thought things couldn't get any more confusing, Kodak started talking about opening a CBD shop. He claimed he wanted to help people find alternatives and turn his own experiences into something positive. For a moment, it actually seemed like he was serious about doing something good. But if there's one thing we've learned about Kodak, it's that nothing ever goes as planned. Every time it seems like he might be turning a new leaf, something wild happens to drag him right back into the chaos. Not long after that, news broke that Kodak had been rushed to the hospital, and you already know what people started saying. According to several media outlets, rumors started flying that it might have been an overdose. The image of him being wheeled into the hospital had fans all over speculating about what really went down. Kodak himself once said, "I've been living so crazy, feel like I'm dying." Those words hit different after what happened next. Just days later, Kodak was on Instagram Live when something seriously strange happened. Right in the middle of the stream, he straight up fell asleep. Some people tried to play it off, saying he was just tired. But let's be real. If you've been keeping up with everything that's been happening, it wasn't hard to read between the lines. Fans couldn't help but worry that his struggles were getting way too real. One user straight up said, "I'm praying for Kodak." People know he needs help, but they keep glorifying that he's off. "Doctor, it's so cringe. I hate seeing him all over the internet like this." The fact that he really fell asleep on IG Live had fans seriously worried. And if that wasn't bad enough, Kodak's appearance on Drink Champs was just painful to watch. The whole interview was a mess. He was slurring his words, struggling to keep up with the conversation, and just looking completely out of it. It had people genuinely concerned, wondering how much longer he can keep going like this. And of course, as soon as the clip hit the internet, people had a lot to say. Joe Budden didn't hold back, saying straight up that somebody should have stepped in a long time ago. He called out the whole situation, saying folks were trying to overcomplicate things instead of getting Kodak the help he needs. And just when people were still trying to process all that, Kodak popped up on Kai Cenat's stream. And let's just say, the reaction was not what anyone expected. Kai's streams are usually packed with wild moments, but Kodak's appearance was something else entirely. Instead of turning up, people were just flat out worried. Throughout the stream, Kodak looked completely out of it, moving slow, struggling to keep up, and even forgetting Kai's name at one point. And then came the freestyle. Yeah, that was not it. The energy was off, the bars weren't hitting, and the whole vibe had people watching just shaking their heads, wondering what's really going on with Kodak. Then came that moment when Kodak casually took something midstream, and Kai's face said it all. Pure shock. It was one of those moments where you didn't even need words to know something was off. After all that, Kodak started making it seem like he was finally getting it together. He was talking about being on the straight and narrow, saying he never thought he'd make it this far. He spoke about self-control and fighting off the habits that used to run his life. Honestly, it actually sounded like a real step forward, like maybe he was serious this time. But you already know, the setback hit hard. Just a few weeks later, he popped up online again looking like he was definitely under the influence. And this time, he wasn't just brushing off people's concerns. He was snapping at the same folks who were just praising him for staying on track. The switch-up was wild and had everybody confused and worried. To keep it real, from where I'm sitting, this whole situation is spiraling out of control. We've seen this story way too many times before. Juice WRLD, Lil Peep, Big Scar. It's the same tragic cycle on repeat. If someone doesn't step in soon, we might be looking at yet another heartbreaking ending. It's high time somebody did something before it's too late. Somebody's got to step in and help Kodak before it's too late. One user put it bluntly. As someone who grew up with recovering addicts, there's nothing you can do. It's all up to them. All you can do is support. He's a grown man. He knows what he's doing, even if he's drowning in it. But not everyone agreed. Another user had a different take, saying, "The battle against yourself is the hardest." Then there was someone else who kept it even more real. You can't help a rich addict. They don't want it until everything is gone, and even then, it's not guaranteed. He even looks thinner. I never really cared for the dude, but I also never want to see anyone go through the motions as bad as this. It's sad. It's clear there's a serious split. Some folks think Kodak knows exactly what he's doing and just doesn't care, while others believe he's drowning and needs way more support to fight this battle. But at the end of the day, it's a fight only he can win. Nobody can force him to change if he doesn't want it for himself. It's a sad reality, but it's the truth. So what do you think about this whole situation? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and while you're at it, check out this other video on your end screen.